Well, do you enjoy the picket signs too?
What's that?
So do you enjoy the picket signs too?
I didn't notice them. I was here early. I start work early.
No, but I'm talking about the ones I'm holding right now.
Oh, I did not notice them.
You didn't notice picket signs? You don't see them at all? That's interesting. Well, that's interesting. Well, who would have thought my picket signs were invisible? So, that is Kelly Ann Kurtz, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Carrie, sorry. Not Kelly, Carrie Ann Kurtz, who is the musician and choir director of the Lakeshore Unitarian Universalist congregation. And according to her, my picket signs are invisible. Well, let's see. She initially said she didn't see them because she came early, which is true. She didn't see me because, initially, because she showed up early. But, when I'm standing there holding a couple of picket signs, specifically these ones, and she doesn't see them, there's a problem. Because these picket signs actually protest a pretty serious issue. The fact that the Unitarian Universalist Association in Boston, which represents Unitarian Universalism certainly in the United States, but I would say to some degree in North America and even in the world, has misused Canada's blasphemy law to cover up and deny pedophilia and rape. So when you don't see that, you are willfully blind, Carrie Ann. So, you might want to tell the lady she left her door open.
Well, just bringing stuff out.
Hello, Robin.
Hello.
Fine. At least it didn't rain for you.
That rained yesterday.
Oh. It certainly did rain.
So, that is another Lakeshore Unitarian whose name escapes me for the moment. But, another one who doesn't seem to be the least bit concerned that I am protesting against the fact that Unitarian Universalists misuse Canada's blasphemy law in legal bullying that's clearly intended to cover up and hide such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape committed by certain Unitarian Universalist ministers. So it's just amazing the levels of willful ignorance and psychological denial that Unitarian Universalists wallow in when confronted by clergy abuse and cover-up and denial of clergy abuse by the Unitarian Universalist Association, even going so far as to falsely accuse yours truly of the criminal act of blasphemous libel in legal bullying that's intended to hide.
Hello.
Hello.
I don't think so.
Oh,
Disagreement with that.
this is a statement of fact that is verifiable by reading the cease and desist demand letter that the Unitarian Universalist Association had me served with, which falsely accuses me of the criminal act of blasphemous libel for blogging about Unitarian Universalist pedophiles and rapists. You are in a position to know that this picket sign is 100% truthful. So I would suggest that you practice Unitarian Universalism's fourth principle, which calls for a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, and pull your head out of your ass, madame, because your head right now is firmly embedded in your ass.
You want me to hold that?
And if you think I'm being rude, well, I'm not being any more rude than Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein, who goes around calling people asshats. And you are an asshat if you believe that my picket sign is not believable. And that, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember her name, Frances Deverell, I think that's Frances Deverell, a Canadian Unitarian Universalist minister, I could be mistaken. It might not be Frances Deverell, but it looks a lot like her. And I have in the past had some altercations with Frances Deverell, which unfortunately were not recorded. But Frances Deverell got extremely upset about a protest I had outside the Unitarian Church in Ottawa a while back. Actually, it wasn't even that so much as the fact that I raised the issue of the misuse of blasphemy law by the... It's one of the women in the church. So did I, but... So anyway, getting back to Frances Deverell, you know, she comes out, assuming it's her. I mean, for the time being, we're going to assume that that was Frances Deverell who expressed disbelief in my picket signs, which, just to remind everyone, say the following. What Frances Deverell said she didn't believe is Unitarian Universalist misuse blasphemy law to cover up and deny pedophilia and rape. You know, it doesn't really matter whether or not it's Frances Deverell. You know, a Canadian Unitarian Universalist took one look at this picket sign and says they don't believe it, instead of checking their facts. But I'm pretty sure it's Frances Deverell, and Frances Deverell is in a position to know that this sign is entirely truthful. I raised this issue at the Ottawa Unitarian Church some time ago now, a couple of years ago now, if I remember correctly. I think it was January, almost 2 years ago. It might have even been 3 years ago. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've raised the issue twice at the Unitarian Church in Ottawa. And Frances Deverell got very, very upset with me afterwards in the coffee hour when she confronted me about this. So, as I said, I'm pretty certain it's Frances Deverell.
They're not in the car.
So,
Can I take anything else for you, or
so our protest is pretty well at an end. Pretty well everyone has left. But it was good to stick around for that little altercation with a woman who I believe is Frances Deverell, Unitarian Universalist minister in Canada, who claims that she does not believe what's written here. And yet, she is absolutely in a position to know that what's written here is absolutely 100% true. The Unitarian Universalist Association in Boston did in fact hire Stikeman Elliott Barristers and Solicitors litigation lawyer, Maitre Marc-Andre Coulombe, to falsely accuse me of the criminal act of blasphemous libel in legal bullying that was clearly intended to cover up, if not outright deny, pedophilia and rape committed by certain Unitarian Universalist ministers, certain Unitarian Universalist Sunday school teachers, and a certain Unitarian Universalist layperson by the name of Richard Buell of First Parish, Norwell. So Frances Deverell is just wallowing in willful ignorance and psychological denial if she does not believe what's written on these picket signs, because she's already been presented with plenty of information that should be convincing, and you know, it's really just a incredibly sad state of affairs when Unitarian Universalist ministers totally disregard Unitarian Universalism's fourth principle, which calls for a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. It's amazing how many Unitarian Universalist ministers can't be bothered to engage in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning when the issue of Unitarian Universalist clergy misconduct arises, and when the issue of Unitarian Universalist cover-up and denial of clergy misconduct arises. So I think we're going to pack it up. I think we're pretty well done with our protest for today. Just going to put the signs away and head off soon. But it's been a pretty good little protest, especially towards the end when people were coming out. Had one quite serious altercation with somebody who thought it'd be a good idea to grab my camera and rip the lens off it. Threatened to smash the lens. That always adds a little bit of excitement to the proceedings. It's kind of interesting because David Horn pretty much did something similar just about a month ago now, maybe a little over a month ago, but not so long ago in the larger scheme of things. So another belligerent idiot attacking me and grabbing my camera. David Horn just managed to rip the lens shade off. This guy managed to get the whole lens off the camera. So anyhow, I had a nice little conversation with him, and was able to persuade him it wouldn't be a very good idea for him to smash the camera lens, especially since I had video of him grabbing it. So anyhow, I was able to put the lens back on and continue recording, but this camera has been damaged by people objecting to my protest at least twice now in the space of a month. It's not focusing properly all the time, so I don't know for sure if the guy who grabbed my camera was a Unitarian Universalist, but he almost certainly was. And David Horn is a Montreal Unitarian. He's been a Montreal Unitarian for years, so basically got 2 incidences of basically attacks on me, also threats of assault in just over a month. So again, we're just packing the signs up and getting ready to go on our way. I think I may do a little protest at the Unitarian Church of Montreal at 2. I think they have a concert happening starting at 2. And I think it would be a good idea to be there and show the signs to the public, which I expect will be showing up, and also the I suspect some people from the Eastern gathering of the Canadian Unitarian Council, which were here today, may well attend that concert, so it'd be a good occasion to have them see the picket signs again. So this looks like musicians leaving. There's very few cars left, so yeah, we're done. We had a fairly successful protest at the Eastern Regional Gathering of the Canadian Unitarian Council, although there weren't a whole lot of people, quite frankly. It wasn't a huge gathering. It's really difficult to say how many people actually attended. And one thing I did notice is there weren't a whole lot of Montreal Unitarians. Hardly any, actually. Carol Green was there. Yeah, so we're just gonna wait for the bus.
Public transit?
What?
Public transit?
Yep.
Well, that's good. Okay, protect the environment.
Oh yeah.
You know, I took a couple of courses a year ago from the Geography and Urbanism Department in Concordia
Right.
for interest, for personal interest, and they have and I just saw advertised in the press the other day, they have an app for your intelligent phone
Right.
that you can track your moves called MTL Trajet. And
Right.
actually I know the prof, Zachary Patterson, developed it, and you download it for 30 days,
Right.
and it keeps track of all your things. The old down things, it uses up a lot of energy because your GPS
Well,
is
it's funny you should mention that because I heard about it on CBC Radio this morning.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, they're trying to promote it because I don't think a lot of people are downloading the app.
Yeah, maybe not.
It's like people probably feel their movements are already tracked enough.
Well, it's voluntary. I mean, because I've taken
No, I know that.
transportation
Yeah,
planning,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
interested. Oh, here, I'll give them a hand,
Right.
track the thing. But the trouble is, sometimes I have to turn off my cell phone because the battery's depleted.
Right.
It does warn you.
No,
that
yeah,
it
yeah,
runs
that was
battery
one of the
low.
issues that came up in what they said.
Yeah.
So are you a member of this church or?
Yeah, I'm a member of this church.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
I got fed up with the other church. And, well, you know, you do too much for a while and you want to change, and so
Right.
I stopped going for a while. And then
So you were going to the Montreal downtown one
yeah,
for a
I
while?
was at downtown for a few years,
Okay.
and then
Do you mind if I ask which years? Or?
from about the last year of Ray Drennan,
All
I
right.
started going then, and then they had Peter Bolita.
Right. Bulata, the interim minister.
interim,
Yeah.
And then Dan Roller came in.
Right.
And then after a while, I got fed up. And you want to change. I got too many committee work, and after a while you say, too much.
Right.
And then I started taking singing lessons,
Right.
and it turned out my singing teacher was a musical director here.
Carrie.
Terry Ann,
Right,
yeah.
right,
So I started
right.
coming here.
Right.
But I'm not in the choir because